What is up, plant community? You can't see it through the plastic, but it is a beautifully sunny day. You can feel the heat coming through the window. All the plants are, of course, enjoying it. Let's uh, let's head to my area for a. Oh, Dad, just hold on, one moment here. Oh, I think I got a new. Oh no, I did get a new leaf. Okay, I thought I had a new leaf. All right, so today's video is going to be a general update in my room about some of the trees that are in my room, and then we'll go on to here, make the video a little bit longer about some of the trees and here that are doing really well. And this is just going to be a generalized of basically just tropical trees or tropical like trees. So that will include things like tropical trees like the ficus trees, and it will include Drycena marginatas as well, and other Drycena species of the aspects. So, because I consider them more of understory trees, which is kind of what they are under in the wild. I'll probably even include tie plants for this reason because they do get a bark on them, so I do consider them more of a understory tree as well. All right, let's get to it. All right, entering my room now, we have this guy, which is struggling, but it looks like he's doing better now. I did replace all my grow lights with full spectrum grow lights. Now, it just looks like a purple mess up in here, which it's better than seeing reds and blues and having like purple in the middle of the ceiling trying to simulate the full spectrum. I think it works really well and works way better. As you can see, it's starting to go towards the grow light actually. So full spectrum, good for trees. Get full spectrum if you're trying to grow trees. The stem here did bend. It looks like it's healing, so that'll be an interesting feature with on this tree. I do have plans on taking this guy outside, so that way he could just look way better. He just looks like a mess here with very few leaves. So we go over here, we have my umbrella, my dwarf umbrella tree. I consider him more of a understory tree, and he is looking good. Got some new growth on the top, looking real good. Real good. Growing up towards the light. I have him staked right now because when I got him from my local greenhouse. Of course, he was leaning towards the light. You know, their job there isn't to rotate the plants. Their job is to sell them. So I completely understand if they don't mess with them or anything like that, and they're just there to sell them because that's what they do. Uh, Very good looking tree, very healthy looking tree. I'm gonna get this outside, and that should straighten up how it's starting to lean. All right. Then over here we have my Fiddle Leaf Fig. Dare I say, this has been the only Fiddle Leaf Fig that has managed to ever survive for me. I'm scared to repot it because it's the only one that's kept all of its leaves. But it's looking really good. No new growth. I think that's because it's in such a small pot. You like my light collection there? Some of these need to be thrown away. Half these I will keep. Like that's a good light. That's a UVB. Need that for reptile enclosures. And this just needs to be thrown away. Anywho, very, very good looking tree. Glad I got it. I knew there was something about this tree I liked. So I did. I got it. And it's been doing good ever since. Right up here by the full spectrum too. I know a lot of people have troubles with these trees. I will eventually be going over a care on this tree. Eventually Friday. I got to get back into Ficus Friday again. And, well, we'll try it that way. Because originally that's what I was doing was Ficus Friday. But I didn't have a whole lot of ficuses. So it just kind of ended. And my rock ficus looked like a, when I started doing it, it looked like just a stick in a pot, basically. But yeah, I'll try to get back with that. Of course, I've only got 2 more trees, and the variegated guy. I do have a variegated weeping fig, and it's doing really well now. So I'm gonna repot that probably after the video because it has good enough roots on it now to be repotted. Last time I have variegated weepy fig, though, it did not last for me. It just died. I mean, of course, things with variegation always requires more light indoors. I think if I placed it by my normal fig, it would do alright. Alright. Let's go over to this guy now. I know it's a Drycena of some sort. I got it from Menards, and so I don't know the name. If you know the name, leave a comment down below. But I know it's generally like a corn plant species. It's doing okay. As you can see, we got some nasty little tips on it, and I think that's because I'm overwatering a bit on it during the winter time. Alright, let's go down and check on our other guy. So yeah, this is my corn plant. Lost quite a bit of leaves, have some browning. I think I'm overwatering him too. I think during the winter they like more abuse than they do being cared for during the winter. So I'm just really gonna hold back on watering him. I felt his soil because I am watering plants still. It takes me an hour to water just this room alone. I think it takes me about 2, 3 hours, maybe 4 for the whole house. But he's pushing out some new growth in the middle here. So I ain't too worried. I just gotta cut back on the watering, and he's really, really telling me that. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm just gonna start letting them completely dry out, not keeping them moist like I would during the summertime. Alright, we go up here. I had a casualty. Sadly, I did lose one of my lucky bamboos. But I still got that guy and that guy, which is doing really well. Well, kinda. They need to be repotted, which is why I'm getting these yellow tips on it. And then we have this, which was gifted to me. So was I forget to mention, so was the umbrella tree. It was gifted to me. Love that thing. It's not even as fussy as a Pachira aquatica. And to me, they're fussy. Pachira aquaticas are. Anywho, this guy is doing alright. Of course, he's kind of putting up a little bit of a fuss, too. Again, I'm just going to start checking the corn plants more, because it seems like that they don't need as much water as the Drycenas. The more Drycena marginatas, because I guess they might just store most of their water in their bigger, bulkier leaves, which makes sense. That's why they got bigger, bulkier leaves, I guess. Alright. I gotta get over to the other side of my room. Okay, we go here. I lost a quarter line. This is before I had full spectrum lighting. I feel horrible. Sky was really getting a trunk on him, and I really wanted to see him flourish, but he just didn't flourish. It's just how it is. I've had like a couple of casualties already. Okay, and up here by the full spectrum lighting, which is my Ficus burgundy. The only rubber tree that has done real well for me in this room. I have him by a full spectrum light because I noticed one of his leaves are getting smaller. He's doing relatively well. He's doing good, so hopefully he continues to thrive for me. I am going to be taking him outside, making him stronger. I eventually want to repot him, depending on if his roots are coming out of the bottom of the drainage holes. Over here, I still have my variegated ficus poinsettia. I mean, not ficus poinsettia. I'm so sorry. I have ficuses on my mind. Happens to us all. Over here, I have my variegated, that's what I meant to say, poinsettia. Variegated poinsettia. Um, Doing well. I haven't lost too many leaves on it. I have it, of course, next by the full spectrum lighting, doing really well. And then over here, I have my Bachira aquatica, which you can barely see. Let me turn on my full spectrum here. It'll turn everything purple, but it has a bit of yellowing on some leaves. I know what that's caused by. It's by this. It's not really that far from that light. And it's just like, oh wow, really bright, getting everything I need. Go drop all my leaves. They do this all the time though, and they just grow them back. It's funny how they do it. Anywho, so yeah, they're drama queens for me, anyways, and I'm just basically simulating more of the shade for it. And that's all the full spectrum in my eyes does, so I still let everything adjust during the summertime. Of course, this is my first time with full spectrum, but I ain't gonna push it any. And it seems to be doing pretty well. Seems to be doing okay. Um, it'll just lose all the leaves. It'll just grow out new leaves. The reason why it's being like this is because it's not used to that, and it's used to being in lower light. So it's going to drop all those indoor leaves and trying to push out more shade productive leaves. Just like if I was to move it in full sun, which they can take, it would drop all of its leaves and grow new leaves to adapt to the sun. Over here, we have my lime corn plant, lemon lime. Uh, Again, I think I'm overwatering that one too. I'm just overwatering the corn plants. It's like with the tropicals, I'm not watering enough, and of course, I'm trying to conserve on water because in some places there is a water shortage. So I don't want to. I tried to get everything passed here with just a one bottle of drinkable water, but that's hard when you have plants like this that require so much more. And then over here we have my Hawaiian tie plant. Looking good. I moved it up here to get more lighting than it was next by the giant elephant ear. Of course, if it produces pups, it produces pups. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't care. I'm just happy to have the two, to be completely honest. Sorry, that sounded weird. Anyway, it's lost a bit of leaves, but I think that's just because it's starting to struggle because it needs to be repotted because it was in this pot all summer. It's almost spring. If it could just hold on for a little bit longer for me, I promise it I will give it a new pot. Okay. Turning off this full spectrum. Over here, we have another poinsettia. I just really like poinsettias, but this guy has a lot of yellow leaves, and some of them are dropping. Um, I think it needs to either be repotted or something. Okay. Over here, we have my rock fig, still standing still. Hasn't put out any new growth besides the four, which I think it just did that so that way it could thrive, which I'm okay with that. Long as it could just get through the winter, I'm fine with that. I don't generally care long as it gets through the winter. Here we have my Ficus religiosa, which is looking good, looking nice. Got hit with a scale on it, and I had to treat that. I treated that quite harshly with pesticides. doing really well. Doing really good, actually. Hasn't putting out any new growth for me lately. I think that's because it knows it's winter, and so now it's kind of in its dormant state. It ain't gonna put out new growth, I think, until I actually bring it outside for the summer, which that's fine with me. I'm perfectly fine with that. That just means out during the summer I won't have to worry about repotting it, and it'll be perfectly fine in its pot. And then down here we have my Drycena Florida Beauty, doing really good, doing really well. Dropped a lot of bottom leaves, but I think it dropped a lot of leaves because it's growing some top leaves. My Croton, which I would consider more of an understory shrubbery, but we'll go ahead and add him in here. He's struggling. He needs a major repot. I'm not even going to lie on that. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. He needs a major repot. I'm just not comfortable doing it until the spring. I'm going to put him outside. Hopefully he perks up, and then I'll have a good looking Croton. Because let's face it, I've always gotten to this level of caring for them, and then they just die. But he's doing really good for right now, anyways. Top growth is looking good. I think he's just a bit fussy because he ain't getting much light, and he ain't. It's hard for the water to get into the root ball right now, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little tray or something put underneath his pot so that way he can wick up the water if he wants. Which that's not how they do that. It just soaks the soil, basically keeping it moist. I just want to keep this guy alive. And we have my Picasso paintbrush. Yeah, not doing so hot at all. This is the moment when I would consider a Croton almost gone or just not doing good at all whatsoever. Uh, yeah, he's just been a struggle. It seems like due to the smaller leaves that they need more intensive care. After him, if he does go, I don't think I'm really going to mess with those Crotons anymore. They just seem too difficult to grow. Kind of like the bigger leaf varieties, if I had to be brutally honest about it. And then here, sorry for the camera quality, guys. We have my ficus. Just my normal ficus. I remember when I first had this guy, he was really struggling. His bark was pale. He had maybe about 2 or 3 leaves on it. I had him in this pot originally, and I took him out of the pot and realized that the soil was kind of decayed and decomposed at the bottom. I'm like, well, maybe that's why you're struggling. So I did put in different soil, and he's been doing great ever since. Really love this tree. It's really held on for me through the struggles. And when I repotted him as of last year, he's just been amazing for me. He's kept most of his leaves. He did drop a lot of his outdoor leaves, and he'll do that again. He'll drop his indoor leaves when I bring him outside. That's just how it's going to be with these guys, and that's just how it is. Other than that, he's doing good. He's growing. He's this whole stem wasn't this long last year. He keeps growing like this. Eventually, he's just going to have to become a floor plant. But yeah, he's doing really, really well. Okay, and then over here we have my Redstar Drycena marginata. He is doing relatively well. They both are in that pot. I am thinking about splitting one up, giving one away, and keeping one so it can get tall and like have a decent sized trunk on it, then snip it so that way it branches out. So that way I can have a bit of variety with my Drycena marginatas here. I did have the original, but it died, and I just don't want to get another original Drycena marginata because I have to make room for some of the trees I've already got. You gotta remember, these trees are gonna get big, and I only have 8-foot tall ceilings. So sadly, when it gets around the time that they get tall enough, I gotta stunt growth, and I gotta trim them back. Just like this guy, if he gets taller, I might have to treat him more like a royal bonsai and trim those roots. I mean, I'll still allow him to grow, but I might not even trim the roots. I might just stun his growth, but that might harm the tree more. I don't know. We'll see what goes on. Then here we have my Drycena marginata veragada, which is a double-trunked Drycena. He is getting some cool little roots on him. But you might have to turn your brightness up to see it. But yeah, he's getting some nice, cool roots on him, which is something I wanted for this guy. It's some gnarly looking roots. He's grown quite a bit. They both have, and they're looking good. And yeah, I just want to keep him as that double trunk stem. Of course, again, when they get bigger, I might have to trim them back. But for now, I'm just going to let them grow. And then when they do get that tall, I'll determine on where I want to chop them. Here we have my Philodendron. No, I ain't gonna pronounce the scientific name. It's I'll never sound that out. He is doing okay. He is struggling a bit. That is due to lighting. If he could at least hold on to a little bit of his foliage like he is right now, I could get him outside and I can get him growing again. I just least need him to hold it until spring. Right now we have this issue, which I think is due to overwatering, which makes sense. They are a subtropical, so I might have to leave it alone and just not water it as much. Most of your trees and understory trees are either tropical or subtropical. And a lot of them that I've noticed I have in my room are mainly subtropical. And I just have a real bad caring nature. And I just want to baby and care for everything. And then I'm wondering why. Oh, why is it dying? Why do I have this issue? It's like, oh, well, yeah, you're overwatering it. And then it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to pull back on the watering then. All right. Oh, even though this ain't for a palm video, this spear on this coconut palm, I've just been misting it like every hour, trying to get through winter. I did give it fertilizer, and it just loved the fertilizer. It's actually put out way more growth now ever since I've done that, and it's by full spectrum lighting. And it gets a little bit of light from the window. So it's doing good. It just seemed like it just really needed fertilizer. And so I'm going to continue giving it proper palm fertilizer. I have not, actually, ever since I've done it, I have not noticed any dry tips on this guy. So maybe that's the key here, is giving it fertilizer even during the winter. Because when I heard that, oh yeah, coconut palms are heavy fertilizers, I'm like, well, if they need a heavy fertilizing even in the summer, that allows me to think just to get them through winter, you might even need to fertilize them. Alright, let's go to my mother's room. I'm actually generally excited to see that new spear now. Like, I really am. Alright, focus here now. This is my mother's Drycena marginata variegata. It's doing really well. It does need a repot. I don't water this guy often because it was originally my grandma's and she was going to plant it in the garden. I'm like, Grandma, wait, this takes medium light. They're an understory tree. They're like an understory shrub. They can't deal with direct sunlight. She's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, I mean, maybe the marginatas can, but not the veragadas. I mean, yeah, they're pretty. I get why you want them in the front garden, but they ain't gonna live like that. And so she had them as a house plant for the longest time. And now here they are, still growing, still doing really well. Uh, but yeah, doing good. Lost a few leaves, but other than that, it's doing better than mine. My cuttings, I ain't too worried about. We lose them, we lose them. It's just how it is. We got enough plants. Anyways, let's see how my ficus bonsai over here is doing. It lost a few leaves, but other than that, I think it's doing good. I just carelessly didn't water it. Yeah, so water your plants. Don't regret it. Here we have my mom's little lucky bamboo, her other Drycena species specimen here. It thinks it's summertime right now, so it's putting out a lot of growth. Fun fact about this place. During the winter time, my mom gets all the good light, all the good lighting that you could ever want. Summertime, it gets more in the middle, and they ain't got that much lighting. It's weird how that works. Then we have my mom's Thai plant, which is putting out little pups out here. Uh, Needs to be repotted, needs watered. I have it in a mixed basket, which ain't doing so good. I think it just needs to be watered and everything needs to be renewed. And I think I just need to divide up all these plants now because they are getting quite long. Some of them are getting kind of crowding in the pot. But yeah, it kind of looks like a bonsai by how it's slanted, and that's just how it wanted to grow. So I was like, all right, you do you. I ain't gonna tell you how to grow. Then we have my mom's yucca, her tree right here, which is doing really good. Needs to be repotted. Definitely needs to be repotted. It actually majorly needs to be repotted. It's doing way better than my yucca, which is why I'm not too worried if I lose it. Here's my jade, which is more of a shrub. It's doing all right. It's doing good, I think. I think it's doing all right. Here's my mom's. And then there's her little cacti that they call a Madagascar palm. So I'll go ahead and include it in the video. Not an actual palm, it's a cacti. Um, yeah, I think, well, we could talk about this guy here, I guess, even though it's not a palm video. My mom just extend the video because my mom really ain't got a whole lot of trees in here. And let's face it, I'm the one who has to eventually take care of all this. So it's doing good. We could see here. See, where did I see that? Right there it is. We got a new spear coming up. I was thinking, like, where did I see that spear? I knew I seen it somewhere. Yeah, so, that's really about it for this video. I'll be doing my bonsais eventually on how they're doing through the winter. Of course, if you like this video, then eventually I'll also be doing, before I forget, before I even get to the ending part, I will also be doing updates on just normal tropicals in general that I've been keeping over winter, till I can get them outside. So things like the white bird of paradise and other plants. Until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. If you like this video, you like all my updates, please give the video a like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out, and it helps me get out there and teach everybody about plants. And I just really love spreading the education to people. I mean, of course, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but give me a like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Tell me what trees are managing to go through your winter being kept indoors and are doing really good and really great. Until then, I hope to see you guys later. Have a good rest of the day.